This meeting is now called to order. I would first like to welcome Keith Drunowski, Litchfield Park City Engineer, who is replacing Woodrow Scouten. Is Keith out there? Okay. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking so that those on the phone can hear you. For those participating via Zoom, please remember to unmute your device before speaking and mute when you are not speaking to create a positive experience for all attendees. Phone participants should use *6 to mute and unmute, and *9 to raise their hand. The MAG public comment process provides opportunity for members of the public to comment on items scheduled on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG jurisdiction. 3 opportunities are provided for public comment, including call to the audience, the consent agenda, and action items to be heard. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via MAG's website prior to the meeting, as long as the comments are received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time. If you'd like to comment at today's meeting, please fill out a white request to speak card located on the information table in the hallway. Please be sure to indicate the item for which you want to speak and give it to the designated MAG staff member. If you're parked in the garage, remember to validate your ticket. Parking validators are available on the counter next to the entrance of this room. For those who purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Please note that the hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members. Oh, Mohammed, go ahead and do the roll call, please.
Thank you, Tony. And thank you, member of the Transportation Safety Committee member. So I'm gonna start the roll call. Please unmute and respond. Carrie Wilcoxon from ADOT.
Present.
Heather Hodgman from Patchy Junction.
Here.
Ward Stanford from Avondale.
Present.
John Willett from Buckeye.
Present.
Raymond Huang from Chandler.
Present.
Nick Russo from El Mirage.
Here.
Chris Salas from Florence.
Present.
Aaron Pinkerton from Gilbert.
Present.
Tony Abel from Glendale.
Present.
Matt Reek from Goodyear.
Present.
Keith Drunowski from Litchfield Park. Carrie Osborne from City of Maricopa.
Present.
Mazen Muradovich from Maricopa County. Mazen Muradovich from Maricopa County.
Here.
All right. Maria D from City of Mesa.
Here.
Chris Lemka from City of Peoria.
Present.
Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Here.
Tara Harmon from Pinal County.
Present.
Jan Martin from Queen Creek. Turan Guntapoli from City of Scottsdale. Dana Oceani from City of Surprise. Kathy Hollow from City of Tempe.
Here.
Frank Sotil from Valley Metro.
Present.
Jeff King from FHWA.
Present.
Robert Gray from ASU. Captain David Katz from DPS. And finally, Alberto Gutierrez from GOHS. That concludes the roll call, Mr. Chair.
Mohammed, Ward Stanford with Avondale. Just checking to make sure you were able to hear me say
Yeah.
I was.
I was able to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. We'll move to item 2, call to the audience. Our next item is, as I mentioned, call to the audience. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. Members of the public who are attending in person may deliver their comments from the lectern at the front of the room. You have up to 3 minutes to complete your comments. MAG staff will notify you when you have 1 minute remaining and when your allotted time has expired. So far, I have received 0 card speakers for this agenda. Can you confirm, Margaret, please?
That is correct. We have received no comments for this item or any other item.
Okay. With that, we'll move to the approval of the minutes from the Transportation Safety Committee teleconference held via Zoom on March 22, 2022. Does any member of the Transportation Safety Committee have comments or revisions to the March 22nd meeting minutes? Okay. Could I have a motion to recommend the approval of the March 22nd, 2022 meeting minutes?
I recommend that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay. We have.
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll second, Tony. It's Kathy.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Kerry Wilcoxon and a second by Kathy Hallow from Tempe. Those in favor say aye. Those in opposition say nay. Those abstaining, please indicate. Ms. Herrera, will you take a roll call for the vote?
Yes, actually, I think we take a vote in the room and then we go to roll call, and Mohammed will be doing the roll call.
Okay. Okay. Kerry Wilcoxon. Okay.
Aye.
And then Tony Abbo, I vote aye. Mohammed,
Yeah.
now can you go ahead and pull those online?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Heather Hodgman,
Aye.
Ward Stanford,
Aye.
John Willett,
Abstain. Apparently I wasn't at the meeting last time.
Raymond Huang,
Aye.
Nick Russo,
Aye.
Chris Salas,
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton,
Aye.
Matt Reek,
Aye.
Kerry Osborne,
Aye.
Mazen Muradovich,
Aye.
Maria Deeb,
Aye.
Chris Lemka,
Aye.
Carl Langford,
Aye.
Tara Harmon,
Aye.
Kathy Hall,
Aye.
and Frank Sotiu.
Aye.
That concludes the roll call, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Now we'll move on to item number 4, the program manager's report. The MAG Transportation Safety Program Manager will provide a report to the Transportation Safety Committee on activities of general interest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. Good morning. We are going through something new again this morning with this kind of hybrid meeting. MAG staff, Tony and Carrie Wilcoxon are here in person. The rest of you are on the phone. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing more of you in the room, hopefully in the November meeting when we have a full slate of programming items that will need to be that are on for action during that meeting. Fun fact, this committee was actually the first one that had a virtual meeting back in March of 2020. So bear with us. We're in going through some of the changes today. I have a few items on my program manager's report. Mohammed, could you advance to the next slide, please? Thank you. So crossing guard training workshops. As mentioned in the past couple of meetings, MAG has hosted these workshops the past 17 years, along with our MAG member agency partners. We have started planning for this year's event, and it will be on August 2nd, 2022 at 9 a.m. Or I'm sorry, from 9 a.m. to noon. That will be held at Washington High School in Phoenix. Some of you may remember that we typically hold 3 workshops, one in the East Valley, one in the West Valley, and one in Central. This year, we're going to be condensing it down just to the one workshop. However, we are working towards being able to record that so that those who can attend in person will be able to view that training online when they get a chance to, or it's also a good idea when they bring crossing guards online in January. They can also point them towards the training online for them to view before they hit their crosswalks. I want to give a shout out to Glendale, Phoenix, Tempe, and of course Peoria. You also may remember that we had some retirements. We also had some staff that were elevated in their agencies. And so we were kind of losing our main knowledge base in our trainers. And so Glendale, Phoenix, and Tempe have stepped up to kind of fill those gaps. And I want to also, again, thank Peoria because Brandon Forey has agreed to stick behind for one more year to kind of help train those new trainers. So thank you to all. And just to also mention that any of you, any additional local agency participation is always welcome. Next slide, please, Mohammed. So the fiscal year 2022 project updates, you can see that the roadway safety assessments, we have completed data collection, observations, debriefing meetings associated with the RSAs at 9 locations. Draft and final road safety assessment reports will be completed and distributed to local agencies here in May or June. There is one Phoenix RSA at 2 locations that are on hold due to construction. So for the fiscal year 2022 Safe Routes to School studies, those are about 50 to 60% complete with data collection, pickup and drop off observations, walking and biking assessments completed. Most studies have facilitated the parent and student surveys or are in the process of facilitating those surveys. And we hope to get those done. The ones that are going to get done, obviously before school ends this week. The 11 Safe Routes to School studies will pause for the summer and pick up again in September timeframe. Planning for the fiscal year 2023 Safe Routes to School studies has already begun, and we will be seeking scope concurrence from Buckeye, Fountain Hills, Peoria, and Surprise this month for those upcoming Safe Routes to School studies. For CME AZ, I would like to invite Chris Gottsacker, MAG Transportation Engineer, to provide a very brief update on that.
Good morning, members of the Transportation Safety Committee, and thank you, Margaret and Chair. So for CME AZ, we kicked off this flight of media activities in April. We have some updated components of the implementation plan, and we are also coordinating with our communications team as well as our media consultant to develop new radio scripts and sort of a new creative concept direction to take the media programming to the next level, and make it more sustainable, do a lot more creative efforts. We are not doing enforcement activities this spring. We are reworking that method and coordinating with our task force to determine the best way to have actionable and measurable evaluation components for that aspect of the program as well. And we are planning to do the annual survey again in the fall. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Chris. We do have one fiscal year 2022 local agency safety study for the McDowell corridor of Scottsdale Road to Hayden Road in Scottsdale. And this is about 90% complete, along with the other road safety assessments, data collection, site observations, and the debriefing meeting. Recommendations are being developed for the draft RSA report to be finalized and submitted to Scottsdale by the end of June. So the next item is the pedestrian and bicyclist safety analysis pilots. We have completed work on 10 locations. And as reported in March, MAG is currently in the process of evaluating emerging technology on-call statement of qualification submittals. Once the new on-call contracts are executed, we will start planning for the remaining 10. And next here is the predictive safety framework project. I'd like to invite Mohammed Shahid to give us a brief report on the status of that.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, member of the Transportation Safety Committee and Mr. Chair. So as you all know, we completed the phase 1 framework for the predictive safety back in February timeframe, late February, early March, and then we started to gather information for the phase 2, which will be actual implementation of predictive safety in the MAG region for the MAG region intersections. So we gathered information from our peer organization, universities, vendors, and obviously feedback from ADOT. Based on that, we have begun the scope development. So we are planning to work on, developing the full and final scope within the next month, and then go through the MAG RFP process and advertise the RFP early fiscal year 2023. So that's the plan as of now for the phase 2 predictive safety implementation in the MAG region. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Mohammed. And just one last thing I've added to this slide, you'll notice a holiday for the MAG safety program. We call it the Safety Data New Year, somewhere in July or August timeframe, unless Carrie tells me otherwise. Although, unfortunately, we don't get a day off, and quite the contrary. In fact, Mohammed actually has quite a bit more work to do when we have Safety Data New Year. So. All right, next slide, Mohammed. Oh yes, this item, there was an opportunity forwarded from Federal Highway Administration for a safe system pilot. And the main goal of this program was to advance implementation of the safe system approach. MAG submitted an application for grant funding on February 3rd of 2022. On May 31st, or actually, I'm sorry, March 22nd, we received a notice of award. On May 31st, we had a kickoff, or we will be having a kickoff meeting. And then from that point, the consultant working with MAG for FHWA for this effort will be doing scoping of that project. What we look to do for this is review of an existing plan through a safe system lens, specifically speaking, review of the MAG STSP, Safe System in Action, and also taking a look at some policies and procedures in order to advance safe system approach. Next slide, please, Mohammed. This next item is the focus approach to safety. This was an FHWA initiative that was started in 2004. It's a data-driven process. They look at the FARS data and they identify states, and it used to be states and cities. Now, this year with the new cycle, it's states and regions have been identified through that data-driven process. The MAG is a focus region for pedestrian bicycle as well as intersection. We've had some WOOP calls quarterly, and WOOP stands for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, and Plan. With the consultant again, FHWA consultant, working specifically with MAG in coordination as well with our active transportation staff here at MAG to kind of go through kind of what our priorities are, what our needs are, go through our wishes, outcomes, obstacles, and what we plan to do. So the things that are currently on the action plan is to look at our CME AZ for how we can best evaluate that program. In addition, safe system approach training, and this is related to the future safety implementation toolkit that is based on safe system, as well as looking at some of our safe routes to school program enhancements. Next slide, please, Mohammed. And I believe, yes, last but not least, you all are probably already aware of the Safe Streets and Roads for All discretionary grant. MAG staff, and I'm sure a lot of you attended the information webinars. I believe those were in March or April. The notice of funding award was sent out on May 16th. And then there's some upcoming how to apply webinars in June, mid to late June. And one of the things that is included in the notice of funding opportunity, or NOFO, is for tribal, local, and MPO submittals. The deadline for those is September 15th of this year. And those can be requesting funds for safety action plans or implementation, which could include supplemental planning activities as well. So we have the link to the SS4A webpage here. And if you access the presentation on the MAG Transportation Safety Committee webpage, you'll be able to click on that link and it'll take you to that webpage. All right. And I think that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Margaret, Chris, and Mohammed for all that information. Please contact Ms. Herrera after the meeting if you have any questions regarding her report. We will go to item number 5. Oh, I'm sorry, you did have a question, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Margaret, I had a question about the safe systems training. If you go back to that slide, one more. Maybe one more.
Sit right there.
That's it. So congratulations on getting funding. That's really big. And this is also an area that we're interested in shifting the STSP to when it's renewed. But my question is, when you are going to review you're going to review the actual your STSP, but will you also be looking at the standards, the design standards, MAG design standards for compliance, or not compliance, but for a safe system evaluation?
That was not going to be part of the scope. It could potentially be part of the focused approach to safety help that we're getting from FHWA. So that is something that we've always wanted to do. There are a lot of other MAG has a technical committee meeting, or technical committee specifically that works on those standard details and specifications. And so that would also include that team. So it's right now, it's just a thought, but it's extremely preliminary. So if ADOT were to take on something like that, we would love to collaborate with you in that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ramifications of implementation, that you actually start making changes to the standards that you design things to. And I'm just interested in how this will go. So if you just keep me in a loop, I guess, I'm sure you will, but
absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, we will go ahead and move on to item number 5, transportation alternative, non-infrastructure safe routes to school projects. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action. MAG receives federal funds for transportation alternatives TA via Surface Transportation Block Grant. These funds can be used to fund SRTS projects and activities, including non-infrastructure SRTS projects. MAG issued a call for project applications on February 22nd, 2022. One application for FY 2025 was submitted by the City of Goodyear on April 11th, 2022. MAG staff will provide a review of the FY 2025 TA SRTS funding programming process. A representative from the City of Goodyear will provide a brief presentation on the funding request.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. Next slide, please, Mohammed. Thank you. So for fiscal year 2025, there is $400,000 available for either Safe Routes to Priority 1, Safe Routes to School Studies, or Priority 2 support activity type projects. In November, this committee met to recommend a list of projects for the first call, resulting in programming of about $157,000 for those requests that went through Regional Council this January for approval and into the MAG tip. The remaining $243,085 was included for a second call for projects. And as Mr. Chair reported, we had one application submitted by Goodyear for Belen Soto Elementary for a total amount of $41,600 in total request. At this time, I would like to invite Goodyear staff to provide a presentation, and Matthew Mohammed will advance slides for you, so you can just ask him when to, or let him know when to advance. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, and to the chair and members of the committee for giving me the opportunity to speak today about the Belen Soto Elementary and our Safe Routes to School application. Belen Soto Elementary is located in the northwest section of Goodyear. As you can see on the slide here, it's located in a fairly undeveloped area currently, but it's undergoing rapid growth. And currently the school services approximately 1,100 students, 300 of which walk or bike to school. So we have a pretty good number of walking and biking. And as you can see, there's a pretty big walking and biking boundary in relation to the school marked in green there on the image. So the Belen Soto Elementary, I'll just talk about a couple of key elements here. The school buses use the west side of the site to drop pedestrian or drop students off at the school, while passenger vehicles utilize the north and the east side of the site to pick up and drop off students. And that presents a few challenges here. One, passenger vehicles tend to back up onto Campbell Avenue and La Maroma Drive. And as you can see, a few of our crosswalks crossing those streets occur in the area where we have some backups. And so that creates some site visibility issues near the crosswalk areas that we would like to take a look at, as well as vehicles traveling southbound on La Maroma Drive tend to pick up or drop off students heading southbound and then make illegal U-turns on La Maroma Drive to head back northbound to get into the north part of this image. So we were taking a look at some of the 6 E's and how we could highlight some of these items. Engagement, we've already had a pretty good conversation with some parents in the area, but we'd like to increase that engagement also with law enforcement to see what we can do about the U-turns that are being performed on La Maroma Drive. From an engineering perspective, I think we can look at some engineering approaches to avoid U-turns. We have installed some signing, but that's had limited impact. Also, the site is relatively has some unique opportunities to provide some parking and pick up and drop off lane improvements that I think we can exploit to increase capacity and try to limit any external parking on the streets leading up to the school. From an educational standpoint, we want to make sure that students are aware of good walking and biking techniques and where they should walk and things to look out for, as well as educating drivers as far as how they can keep an eye out for pedestrians. And then we want to evaluate the current program and just see how we can make some improvements. One thing I want to mention too is that there's a park located near the northeast corner of the site where students tend to hang out after school and either wait for a ride or just spend time with other classmates. And so that's another unique aspect that we'd like to take a look at and seeing how we could take advantage of that opportunity. So our request is for a little over $39,000 with a $2,371 in-kind payment from the city. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions or discussions on this item? I don't see any here, anything online. Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to recommend approval of the project to be funded with the available TA non-infrastructure SRTS funds in 2025?
I move that we approve this request.
Okay, we have
I'll second. This is Carl.
Okay, we have a motion from Kerry and a second from Carl. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room? Those in favor say aye, and those opposed say nay. I will start with you, Kerry.
Aye.
And this is Tony Abbo. I vote aye. And Mohammed, will you do a roll call of all member participating virtually? Please indicate how you vote.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Heather Hodgman.
Aye.
Ward Stanford.
Aye.
John Willett.
Aye.
Raymond Huang.
Aye.
Nick Russo.
Aye.
Chris Salas.
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton.
Aye.
Matt Reek.
I should abstain. Can I do?
Kerry Osborne.
Matt, you
Aye.
don't have to abstain. I'm sorry, Mohammed.
Yeah, sure.
Do I need to? Am I allowed to vote on this since our application is being voted
Yes,
on?
vote.
Aye. Thank you.
Kerry Osborne.
Aye.
Mazen Moradovich.
Aye.
Maria Dib.
Aye.
Chris Lemka.
Aye.
Carl Langford.
Aye.
Tara Harman.
Aye.
Kathy Hollow.
Aye.
And Frank Sotil.
Aye.
And that concludes the roll call, Mr. Chair.
Just a quick question. Did Mohammed miss anybody that's now online that may have joined us late? Okay.
Okay, with the motion and a second, the motion passes. Any further discussions on this item? Hearing none, I will go ahead and move to item number 6, the MAG Roadway Safety Program Enhancement. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action. Since approval of the MAG Roadway Safety Program in September of 2019, MAG has issued 3 calls for project applications, resulting in submission of 43 RSP project applications. Based on the submissions, safety projects at 43 locations have been programmed in 9 MAG member agency jurisdictions in urban and rural areas. After the 3rd programming cycle, MAG conducted an analysis of all RSP project evaluations and developed enhancements to the project scoring mechanism, quantitative and qualitative evaluation criteria, and project application. MAG Transportation Program Manager will provide a presentation on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. This is a continuation of this item from really November. We worked through and did evaluations on the fiscal year 2023 RSP program project requests. Just the process to review for some of you who may not have been able to attend the past couple of meetings. We did obtain some feedback from both evaluators as well as applicants that don't necessarily sit on this committee or have representation on this committee. We did an extensive review of the evaluation. MAG staff has also developed a prioritization tool. And as well as doing some enhanced or developing enhanced evaluation specifically for the qualitative to provide clarity as well as more value to the evaluation portion of the score. We convened the RSP working group twice, once in April and once very early here in May. And the recommendations that we are going to be reviewing with you today are coming from that working group to you all. So with that, next slide, please, Mohammed. So first, what I'd like to do is invite Brian Rubin. He is the MAG Transportation Planner 3 in the MAG Performance Program to provide a review of the prioritization tool he has developed for us. Brian.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. Happy to be here this morning. My name is Brian Rubin, and I'm a transportation planner here at MAG. I'm going to be showing you a tool that we developed. But before I show the tool, I wanted to give a little bit of historical context. Back around a decade ago, when the MAG congestion management process was being implemented and developed, we also created a generic tool that could be used for assisting evaluating and prioritizing projects. Starting in 2014, we began to adapt this tool for specific modal groups, starting with an ALCP change tool. And then we further developed specific tools for programming projects for the Pinal County Arterial and Bridge Program, as well as the Active Transportation Program, and most recently an SMNO tool for our friends over in the TISMO group. I'm going to share my screen. Mohammed, can you release?
Yes, I already unshare my screen.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me make sure I've got this. Okay. Can everybody see my Excel screen?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. These tools are developed in Excel. And essentially what we do is we walk through a series of tabs where we enter information, and then that information is carried throughout the tool until we get a final prioritized result of projects. On the first tab here are the goals and objectives of the program, where we list what we are trying to achieve with this tool. On the second tab, we have the space for inserting the project information. We assign a project number, name of the project, the location of the project, its limits, and the type of work that is going to be going on. Currently, this tool is populated with some sample data that I believe came from the last call of projects done with this committee. Next, we go ahead and list out our quantitative criteria that we'll be using to measure for the quantitative portion of the evaluation. For this specific tool, we will be looking at benefit cost ratio, crash rate, network screening, project identification through study, whether it aligns with MAG or the Arizona STSP, as well as looking at some equity elements. On the next tab, we take data that was provided by the applicants through the application process and enter it into the tool. So we enter in the raw numbers that we are given, and then that is carried through into the scoring process down below. The way the scoring process works is that it's based on a ranked ordering system. So within each criteria for each project, there will be a ranking assigned based on what we are looking for, whether it's the highest number or the lowest number. And that rank order will be carried through and multiplied by the weight later on to give your overall score for each category. Next, we have the qualitative criteria that were selected. Here we're looking at, is the project description consistent with proposed schedule that will lead to completion in 24 months? Will proposed safety measures improve the existing roadway conditions? Are safe system principles and elements addressed? Will the proposed project provide value to the surrounding community not easily captured through available data sets, as well as does the application sufficiently describe the equity impacts of the safety improvements? I apologize for a couple of typos that are here in these cells. And as well, we provide a scoring rubric so that we can help to define what a 1 is, what a 2 is for when these projects are being evaluated by the committee. Similarly to the way we handle the quantitative criteria, we'll then take an average of the responses for the qualitative criteria and enter those into our space here to be carried through toward the scoring process. After the data has been entered, we display how the weighting is going to work. Currently, we are allocating 75% of the weight to quantitative criteria and 25% to qualitative criteria. And within each category, we are assigning each individual criteria equal weights, but this can be adjusted. So for example, all of the quantitative criteria carry a 12.5% weight, and all of the individual qualitative criteria carry a 5% weight. On our next tab, we have the calculations and results. Here, what we see is the rank order for each project that I talked about earlier. And then what we do is we take that score, we multiply it by the weight, and we do so for each of the criteria. And then those criteria are summed up to give us our total quantitative weighting score. In similar fashion, we do the same thing for the qualitative criteria. Those are carried in from where they're entered on the previous tab, multiplied by the weight, and then given a total qualitative score. Down below, we have the overall results, which takes the qualitative score as well as the quantitative score, adds them together, and gives us a total score. In the following tab, we have a results page where we carry through the project number and name, the type of work that's being done, and show the quantitative rank, the qualitative rank, as well as the total score. One shortcoming to this tool is that it doesn't handle ties very well. So you'll notice down in 14th place, we don't have any information, and that's because the project ranking 13th and 14th are actually tied. So what we do then is create a final sheet where I carry that information over manually. And as you'll see here, they have the exact same score, and then have those indicated here. Then what we can then do is look at the total available funding as well as the funding requests, and then do a running cumulative total to see where our cutoff line is for funding, and we can make our decisions from there. That concludes my portion of the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if we want, or if we want to wait till later. Margaret.
We can pause here, and if there's any questions from committee members for Brian on this. All right, I guess we can move on. Thanks again, Brian. We appreciate all your hard work on this.
My pleasure. I was happy to join you today.
Okay, so I think we can go to the next slide. I think you went a little bit too far, Mohammed. Here we go. All right, so to kind of tie in the prioritization tool, or actually tie other elements into that evaluation tool, as I mentioned previously, we did do a lot of work on the qualitative criteria for the RSP program. And I'm going to ask Mohammed to show what is in your packet as attachment 3, which is the qualitative evaluation. All right, hopefully you might have this open on another screen. I realize it may be a little difficult to read, but Ryan has already kind of read through the evaluation criteria questions. Those are on the far left column of the spreadsheet. In addition to the questions, so the first one as an example is the project description consistent with the proposed schedule that will lead to completion in 24 months? And in parentheses, it says application section 3A. So the evaluator has clear indication of where they can get this information from the application. We've also included some notes and examples. The note here is evaluators should rely on personal experience in project delivery to assess likelihood of project to be completed within 24 months required by the established goals and objectives for the RSP program. An example here would be from the application is potential long lead items for procurement of equipment has been addressed for use of stock items. Several members of the public have expressed support for the project. Coordination with property owners is completed. Preliminary design indicates no utility relocation will be needed, and that the city or town has already completed 30% design in-house. So that's just an example of what you might see on an application. And as far as a scoring rubric is concerned, we've provided some more guidance as to what a 0 or a 4 or a 1 might be in this case for this particular evaluation, qualitative evaluation criteria. This is more of a binary, so it's a yes or a no. So the guidance for what a no would be was that there's a potential for public or property owner pushback that's not addressed. No discussion of potential utility or right-of-way needs or discussion of these challenges without including items in the cost estimate. No discussion of design stages underway or planned. That the project description is inconsistent related to the cost estimate, and that no plans to mitigate the known potential issues are offered in the application. So that would be a no. In contrast with a yes that might include discussion of public outreach that was conducted, clear indication of design and planning underway or completed, discussion of potential right-of-way or utility issues and plan mitigations, and consideration of internal review and approval of processes. So that's just an example of the very first evaluation criteria. I'd be happy to go through the rest of them, although you may have them in front of you in your agenda packet. I think I may go through one more that's not as binary as that first question. The fourth question is, will the proposed project provide value to the surrounding community not easily captured through available data sets, and points you towards application section 7A. The note here is that this creates a new connection between amenities or addresses a new development. An example of an exceptional value in this case, the scoring rubric is 0 for no value, 1 for poor value, 2 for fair value, 3 for good value, and 4 for exceptional value. An example of that might be in the application expressed as several amenities within the project area will be affected by the safety improvement. The community uses the crossings to access amenities as pedestrians on a daily basis and have expressed safety concerns that are in support of the improvement. So again, it ranges from a 0 to a 4, 0 being no discussion or of surrounding area land uses or community characteristics, all the way to the other end of the range. That would be discussion of land uses surrounding community characteristics with clear connection to proposed improvement and includes community input or support received. So again, I would be happy to go through the remaining 3 of the qualitative evaluation criteria. But if there aren't, you pause here and have questions or input from the committee at this point. All right, hearing none, we can move on, Mohammed. I think the next is just to go to the application. So in the application, you'll kind of see what we're highlighting is really the changes that were made based on, number 1, the development of the prioritization tool. Number 2, development of the enhanced qualitative criteria that we are now kind of translating into the application to make it a bit more, number 1, easier for the applicant. Number 2, good information on what makes a good application, as well as clearer for the evaluator to be able to find the information that they need in order to do their evaluation. I would go ahead and Mohammed, if we could start on the guidance tab of the application. We do have a couple of changes. One of the things that we are requiring with this next cycle is that if your application includes a pedestrian improvement, it's okay. All right, I think we now have the guidance document up. So we are requiring, similar to ADOT's HSIP, if you have a pedestrian improvement that you're proposing, that you use the AZ step guide and tool, as well as attach the step field review form. Mohammed, if you click on the link there where it says AZ step guide, it should take you straight to, no, I'm sorry. Hover over AZ step guide there in the middle, right under pedestrian. Click on it now with the little finger. Ah, I gotcha. Okay, there it goes. Okay, but it's not showing for those that are. Sure, that'd be great. For those of you who have not seen the AZ Step Guide, I think it's a wonderful tool, and it's very self-explanatory. So if you, enlarge that, exactly. So it gives you very clear directions on how to utilize it. Kind of in the middle of the page, if you can just, for an example, Mohammed, just select 4 lanes without raised median there at the bottom, the very last selection. So this might be a scenario that you're looking at for a pedestrian improvement. I would just select vehicle ADT greater than 15,000 and the speed limit is 35. So the second selection and there you go. So then it opens this up and it gives you the options for the different pedestrian improvement countermeasures for consideration. It gives you some clear direction as to, you know, if you're proposing a hawk, it also gives you some additional things that you might want to include with that. It also provides some real clear direction on things that should not be included with that. Or maybe it might even tell you that there's something more appropriate than a hawk. So I think this is an extremely useful tool for that. Right there above where it says safety issue, Mohammed, it says field review form in the PDF above that, right there. So that will actually take you to the PDF form that you can take out in the field with you for your field review. So this is what would actually need to be completed and attached to your application if you have a pedestrian improvement proposed. All right, we can go back to the application. Okay, so if we go down to, we do have some additional guidance under schedule, just to be consistent with all the elements that need to be completed. Last cycle was the first time that we included the need to complete a schedule for these projects. So we've added some guidance to that. You all can read that. I'm not going to read the entire thing. And as well as in project eligibility, we have provided guidance regarding, well, not regarding, but how it aligns with the prioritization tool that Brian reviewed with you. So again, I won't go through that. We don't know at this time exactly when the call for projects would be. So I do not have a submittal due date at this time. So once we get closer to that, probably for the July meeting, we'll have a bit more information on that. Okay, is there any questions on the guidance tab at this time? All right, with that, we can go to the application tab, number 2, Mohammed. So there's been quite a bit of overhaul on this tab. If you notice, Mohammed, if you hover over the white spaces, stay on a white space. There we go. So instead of including all the guidance on the right-hand side of the page, a pop-up will come up with a note with that guidance provided there. So it kind of cleans it up quite a bit. We did include with this cycle that we would like to know if your project is a systemic or a spot type project. In addition to just kind of reordering this for to make more sense, not only with the evaluation itself, but just how you plan and how you plan your safety improvement project. So it makes a lot more sense, the flow of that. The RSP scope and schedule is now included. And then if you want to read the, Mohammed, when you hover over 3A, if you could read the, can you see the guidance note there to be able to read it? Or? It's not showing on the screen. Okay, my apologies for that. What I could do is go up to the screen and read it. This is something new. No, that's okay. I'll just take this up here. So guidance for this element, RSP scope and schedule, describe safety improvement project scope and planning efforts that have been conducted to assess the ability to complete the project in 24 months required in the established RSP policies and procedures. Describe any public property owner outreach done and the outcome. Describe your planning efforts and planning stages, whether it's PA, 15% design, et cetera, and any challenges revealed for utility location or removal of potential right-of-way needs. Description should be consistent with what is reflected in the completed cost estimate to include utility and right-of-way to be funded with local funds. Description should include plans to mitigate any issues revealed during the planning of. Can you pull it down at all, Mohammed, or no? Just the planning of your project. So for network screening, the next element, number 4, we need to see if it's the MAG network screening. So the network screening that's used to develop that top 100 list, if that was used to plan your project, or if you use the ADOT network screening. And the ADOT network screening is just that. And Carrie typically reports their network screening. He also reaches out to local agencies when they come up on that network screening for developing projects. So that would be what is meant by ADOT. You could also have a local agency could have their own network screening that they utilize. And we actually encourage that. So the elements here that we need to see in the application is that the network screening description, and then to receive the maximum points, the description should include discussion of the network screening method used, where the project is ranked in that methodology, and the contributing crash characteristics. So there's really 3 elements there that we want to see, not just indicating which network screening. Okay, so the next one, number 5, Mohammed. So project study identification. We want to see whether it was developed through an RSA, project assessment, PA, Safe Routes to School study, local agency safety study, or even a local study that may have been conducted. So to receive maximum points, this section should demonstrate the due diligence conducted by the lead agency. Include a brief description of the data collection, analysis, and observations and recommendations for spot projects. For systemic projects, the description should include data collection, analysis, and observations demonstrating alignment with the chosen countermeasures peer-reviewed studies. So that's referring to the crash modification factor documentation. So in addition to this description, provide a link to the study referenced in the cell that's right next to this one. Pedestrian improvements, this should include, as I mentioned before, the use of the Arizona Step Guide, and a copy of the step field review form should be attached for each pedestrian improvement location. For traffic signals, please attach your signal warrant as well to the application. All right, the next section, Mohammed, 6, so alignment with the MAG STSP, Safe System in Action. As you note, there's a link to the MAG STSP right next to where it says STSP there in blue. So you'll have access to that for review. Safe System in Action is based on relevant safe system elements and principles. Refer to the guidance tab as well as the MAG region STSP, Safe System in Action. For maximum points, the description should include detailed consideration of relevant safe system elements and discussion of how the proposed improvement aligns with safe system principles. So as an example, it says relevant because obviously a lot of these projects, and in fact, a lot of our work does not include safe vehicles necessarily. So we've included the relevant safe system principles and elements for consideration here. All right, section 7, Mohammed, project value. So describe any meetings, discussion, calls, emails from members of agency leadership, staff, or public that supports the safety need. Include discussion of land uses surrounding community characteristics with clear connection to the proposed improvement and community input and support received. Include characteristics that support need for the proposed improvement that are not captured in available data sets. These elements that create a new connection between amenities or address new development. All right, so under section 8, equity, the biggest change here really is that we've updated, number one, the regional percentages after the last census, and the work that's associated with that. We have updated numbers for the regional percentages. In addition, there has been changes to MAG's interactive maps. And if you go even just to anything with exception of the disabled element, we have still the 65 years and older, minority groups, no vehicle households, and those living in poverty. Mohammed, you can go back and hover. Okay. So the equity data, all of these elements, with the exception of the disabled, can be obtained by clicking the 65 years element descriptor. Something that's new in the interactive maps is that you can input the area with, so if you're doing a segment, you can do a 1 mile segment on the map, and it will bring up all of the information for 65 years, minority groups, no vehicle households, and those living in poverty. That's something you can export to an Excel spreadsheet and just translate that onto your application. The disabled element, you still need to go to a separate map, but it's linked again to the disabled text there that you see. So it's actually quite a bit easier to go through those interactive maps now for entering those. Section 9, Mohammed. So equity impacts. This is very similar, but we've added a little bit clearer guidance for the applicant. For maximum points, the description should include discussion on populations at or above regional average. Clear discussion on the impact of the improvement on those population, and includes relevant research related to the underserved population in the connection to the specific safety improvement. And then the rest is either self-populated based on entries that you make on different tabs. So for instance, the average daily traffic volume, you'll need to grab that from the crash rate tab. Year collected, obviously, you'll just put in what years collected, total crash frequency as well. That will come from your crash rate worksheet. Crash rate as well, if you go down, Mohammed. The benefit costs will self-populate based on your entries on the BC ratio tabulation, and as well entering what the posted speed limit is. So any questions, comments, feedback on the actual application?
Go ahead, Kerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Margaret. Thanks for the work on this. And I am on the committee, so I just occurred to me though while you were going through this. Does every potential applicant have access to volume data, or is this the volume data that's projected through the MAG work?
This would be the most recent data collection. We have not had any issues. We haven't had any expressed issues from local agencies in being able to provide this. So it is not the MAG projected, which would be a little bit of a data mismatch for this work. So, okay. All right, I think, next slide, Mohammed. There are no questions on the application.
Sorry, Margaret, this is Maria with the City of Mesa. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So when you're looking at the ADT, the year that it was collected, does it have to match the last year of your 5-year crash data? Is there any type of, are you looking for matching numbers that way, or does it really just what is available?
It would be what's available in this case, Maria.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the application? All right. So we've gone through the qualitative evaluation and the application as attachment 4. At this point, that concludes my presentation on the item. Mr. Chair, if we want to move forward with any other discussion.
Okay, do we have any any further questions or discussions for Margaret or any of the MAG staff?
Yes, thank you. This is Maria with the City of Mesa. So in the application, is there the match percentages, is it different if it's systemic and or spot?
No, the match is always the design cost. So it has to be a minimum of 10%. So regardless of if it's a systemic or a spot, the design costs are the city to be funded. The city or town or tribal agency funded.
Thank you.
Any other questions or any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to recommend approval of the Roadway Safety Program RSP evaluation criteria and scoring weights, qualitative evaluation sheet and guidance?
Sorry.
Oh.
My apologies, Mr. Chair, but there is one more slide before we go on to the motion. Just some quick next steps. We are hoping to get some action from this committee today. That recommendation will move forward to Transportation Review Committee this coming Thursday. And then the policy committees, management committee and regional council in June. Just as a reminder, this is more for the RSP program in general, that the annual RSP progress reports are due on June 9th. Those of you that have received funding in the previous cycles are required to complete these progress reports on an annual basis up to 3 years. For the July meeting, we'll provide you the RSP annual report for 2022, as well as we are looking forward, as I mentioned before, to the fiscal year 2024 call for projects sometime in July or August of this year. So with that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, my apologies, Margaret. I thought the presentation was done. Okay, hearing that we have no more questions or discussion on the matter, is there a motion to recommend approval of the Roadway Safety Program RSP evaluation criteria and scoring weights, qualitative evaluation sheet and guidance, and the 2022 RSP project application and guidance for funding of FY24 MAG RSP projects? Do we have a motion and a second?
I motion.
Oh, go ahead, Maria.
Thank you. A motion to approve.
I second it. This is Raymond.
Okay, we have a motion from Maria Deep and a second from Raymond Huang. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room? I will start with with Carrie. Those that are in favor say aye and opposed say nay. So we'll start with you, Carrie.
Aye.
Okay, and this is Tony Abbo, and I vote aye also. Mohammed, will you do a roll call vote of the members participating virtually, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Heather Hodgman,
I'm going to abstain.
Ward Stanford,
Aye.
John Willett,
Aye.
Raymond Huang,
Aye.
Nick Russo,
Aye.
Chris Salas,
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton,
Aye.
Matthew Rigg,
Aye.
Carrie Osborne,
Aye.
Mazen Muradovich,
Aye.
Maria Deeb,
Aye.
Chris Lemka,
Abstain.
Carl Langford,
Aye.
Tara Harman,
Aye.
Kathy Hall,
Aye.
and Frank Sotil.
Aye.
And that concludes the roll call, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I had my mic muted with the motion and the second. The motion passes. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to item number 7, reports by committee members. I'd like to invite any members of the Transportation Safety Committee to report on ongoing safety-related project activities in their jurisdiction. We'll begin with those here in person. And then Mohammed will use the roll sheet to request members' reports from those attending virtually. So we'll start with Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a couple of updates. First of all, the HSIP current call for projects is still out there, but it's quickly coming to an end. So if you haven't already submitted your applications, I think that date is coming up quickly. May 31st. Thank you. We are getting ready to issue a call for proposals for the pedestrian and bicycle group RSAs. This will be statewide, but we'll be looking at the locations that were identified through our network screening, as well as our pedestrian and bicycle safety action plans. When those consultants are selected, I'd be interested in getting input from other agencies as well, maybe even participating in some of the field reviews when that comes up. We are about also to release a request for the 2024 update to the statewide strategic traffic safety plan. And as I indicated, the intention there would be that we would include safe system approach. And then two other things. One, the safety projections, which come out annually, are being developed and should be out early part of June. And now that there is a national holiday associated with it, I don't want to disappoint anyone. Our Safety New Year will officially occur around June 15th when we complete the 2021 data and release the crash facts. I know everyone's summer reading list has crash facts prominently featured. So, thank you.
I just want to make a quick note, just for the committee members, that once ADOT releases those safety projections on or about June 15th, it typically takes up to about a month for MAG to get that into download it and review it and get it into our system. So that's why our stated date of New Year is about a month off from ADOT. So.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. On behalf of Glendale, I'll just talk about one project that we're about to embark on is the hawk at Camelback and 53rd Avenue. We have selected a consultant that we are negotiating with the consultant for that hawk at Camelback and 53rd Avenue. It will be we will be coordinating with the city of Phoenix on this one, but the city of Glendale will be paying for all the design and construction costs on the project. So that's all I have for this month. And Mohammed, will you go ahead and all the members that are virtually?
Sure, Mr. Chair. Heather Hodgman from Patchy Junction.
Nothing to report.
Ward Stanford from Avondale.
The city's been working on a design and installation of a hawk signal just south of MC 85 on Avondale Boulevard at a highly used crossing. And that continues. That's about all we have.
John Willett from Buckeye.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Raymond Huang from Chandler.
Chandler is under design for a protected bike lane on Fried Road, stretch about 5 miles or so. It's right now it's during the design phase. And we are partnering with a neighborhood resource in the city to fund these projects. And so that's all we have.
Nick Russo from El Mirage.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Chris Salas from Florence.
Nothing to report at this time.
Aaron Pinkerton from Gilbert.
Nothing to report at this time.
Matt Reek from Goodyear.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Kerry Osborne from City of Maricopa.
Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Mazen Muradovich from Maricopa County.
Yes, thanks, Mohammed. Nothing from Maricopa County. I just have a quick question for the committee, Margaret, please. Just to confirm that HSIP funding, which is due May 31st, this next Tuesday, is to be submitted to the MAG. Just want a confirmation of that, please.
Yes, those need to be submitted to MAG, and then we will turn those around and get those to ADOT. If we have any comments, what I've been doing to this point is I will put my comments in the email response to the applicant and copy Larry Talley so that he has the submittal, number one, and he also can see what MAG's comments are on those so that they can start their review of those draft applications.
That's good. So just to follow up, I can see in the envelope, in the letter that's attached to the spreadsheet in the application that it is required that we submit the letter, the application, and some backup documentation. So that's what's needed. Standalone copy we can copy and then PDF and then send it to them without having to send in the whole spreadsheet, if you will, Excel sheet. Is that correct?
I think that's more of a question for ADOT, but my understanding is that yes, I think you can submit it. If I'm understanding you correctly, Mazen, are you saying that obviously the cover letter that goes with your HSIP application, it requires a signature? I think as long as you have the narrative that's required in the in that tab in the Excel form spreadsheet, right. I think that's fine. As it is to submit by next Tuesday's deadline. And Carrie can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. That's good enough. Next first.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Maria Deep from City of Mesa.
Nothing to report. Thanks.
Chris Lemka from City of Peoria.
Yeah, I got one item. City of Peoria just completed its second RSP project, which was replacing RFBs to a hawk in front of Peoria High School. And I think something that's important to mention is the cost estimate and what was programmed through the MAG tip. We were spot on with that, which is nice because the first project we did, we weren't that close, but this one we were really close with the estimate, and the contractor pretty much was right in line with what we projected. So thank you, MAG, for helping out with the RSP project, and expect a reimbursement for our construction here pretty soon. But the program's great. I can't advocate a better program than the RSP. We've taken advantage of it in Peoria, and we are going to continue to submit applications because it's a really good program. So thank you.
Thank you. Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So for City of Phoenix, wanted to let you know that our road safety action plan, we are very much underway, making progress on that, and want to let you know there will be a second round of kind of public involvement that will happen this summer. So as many of you live inside of Phoenix boundaries, we invite all to participate. You can go to phoenix/streets/road safety, and that should be able to bring up the website. Probably here in July timeframe is when we will have another round of public involvement type aspect. We're hoping to have this plan finalized towards the end of this year. Thank you.
All right. Tara Herman from Pinal County.
Nothing to report today.
Kathy Hall from City of Tempe.
Yeah, hi. I guess I would put on a couple things. We have a project that is under design, pretty close to being 100%, to add protected bike lanes on Scottsdale Road from Curry to Continental. And then we just about to start the design on 2 pedestrian signals, one at Warner Road and the Kyrene Canal Path, and the other at Guadalupe Road and the Western Canal Path. That's all.
Right. Frank Sotil from Valley Metro.
Nothing to report today. Thank you.
And that concludes my roll call, Mr. Chair.
Did we miss anybody that's attending virtually? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed, and thank you, Margaret. We'll move on to item number 8, requests for future agenda items. Do any members of the Transportation Safety Committee have topics or issues of interest that they would like to have considered for discussion at a future meeting? Please indicate by unmuting to be recognized. You can also send the request to Margaret, Shane, or myself via email. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 9, which is our next meeting date and place. The next meeting of the Transportation Safety Committee will be held at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, July 26th, via hybrid virtual conference unless otherwise notified. And with that, I move to adjournment. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this meeting will be adjourned. I have up here 11:29 a.m. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.